Hey guys, my name is Colin Wright, and I am going to answer some questions. How do you stay healthy and fit while traveling all the time? It's difficult, and it's something that I've had to iterate over the years. It's been about 7 years that I've been trying to refine this process, and no doubt it will change more in the future as I learn new things and find out more about who I am and what I need and how I like to feel and how I like to look, and all of those important things that go into coming up with a cohesive plan in terms of diet and exercise and such. But I don't tend to fall into the kind of trendy diet thing. Like a lot of these diets I think do really work for people, but I do think it's kind of luck of the draw whether or not it applies to you and your physiology. I think we all have to come up with very specific combinations of elements if we want to get something that's perfect for us rather than something that just seems really cool and glossy and sexy in the moment because everybody's talking about it. That said, I tend to focus in terms of diet on being able to eat anything. It's a very important thing if you're going to be traveling to be able to eat whatever is available. In a lot of cases, the food that is just available will be very different from what you're accustomed to. And if you're sitting there jonesing for some particular thing that you're accustomed to eating, then you're not going to enjoy yourself very much. And you will perhaps miss out on all of the wonderful things that this place has to offer because something changed in your habits and rituals. And that's a really bad way to travel. So ideally, that's not the case. Ideally, you leave yourself open to kind of eating whatever's available based on the region, based on what they have available, and based on what the locals eat. That said, I do tend to avoid a whole lot of sugar. This was something that when I was younger, I ate all kinds of terrible stuff all the time because my metabolism could handle it. But as soon as I eliminated this stuff from my diet, I realized how much better I felt just day to day. And actually, every bit of exercise that I did then did a lot more for me. I was able to slim down much easier. I was able to gain muscle much easier. I was able to run much further. I found that as soon as I dropped fast food and candy and soda from my diet, these things really significantly improved my quality of life. So that's my experience. I think a lot of people might feel the same, but it's different for everybody. And for some people, the trade-off might not be worth it. So keep that in mind. Everything that you do with diet and exercise is a trade-off. In terms of exercise, I tend to keep it simple, and my focus is on things that are portable and things that I can do anywhere. And so over the years, I've gone from having a workout routine that was largely free weights and running to doing purely body weight resistance. And the reason is that I don't have access to free weights everywhere or something that I could use as a free weight consistently. And there's a lot of places in the world where there's just no culture of running. And so going for a run is actually kind of socially rude and something that's quite bizarre, not in a good way. And so that's something that was put by the wayside long enough that it worked its way out of my system, and now I do other things to get my cardio in. And what I do tends to be a combination of stretches and a little bit of yoga, like yoga postures, and then some quick kind of fast and furious body weight resistance stuff. Things like Spider-Man planks and push-ups and squats in particular. Those are kind of my main jam when it comes to workout and when it comes to body weight resistance as opposed to just flexibility and stamina in terms of the postures. There's a lot of other things that I've been experimenting with that I might work into this system. Right now, I found a resistance band that I've been using, and I've been trying to come up with other things that I can do with that that are more difficult to do with pure body weight resistance. But in general, I am very, very focused on making this a routine that I can do anywhere and that I can do without having to carry a bunch of extra stuff. Because if you think about it, carrying like running shoes, even carrying like the toe shoes, the Vibrams, takes up more space in your bag. And if you are traveling full time and long term, you don't want to have excess stuff in your bag if you can avoid it. And so for me, my balance is struggling to figure out a way to get the workout that I need that allows me to look the way that I want and to feel the way that I want to feel without having to pack a bunch of excess stuff that I have to then lug around for the rest of my life, and without finding myself in a situation where I am having to figure out ways to, say, run in a place where running is not okay and not very easy to do. And so you have to look at yourself and look at what you want and look at the results that you're trying to get, whether it's just feeling healthy or like looking really good and getting ripped or whatever you want to do to slim down or bulk up. Everybody has a different goal when it comes to workout and diet. And so you have to look at that goal. You have to look at what the trade-offs are in each case, whether that means giving up chocolate that you eat daily, or whether that means giving up fast food, or whether that means spending more time on the food that you're eating, like preparing your own food more frequently, or avoiding certain things completely if you go paleo or go vegan. And in terms of workout as well, it means figuring out, is it worth getting a little bit of extra bicep bulk if that means carrying around a bunch of extra equipment? For some people it absolutely will be, and for other people it won't. So find what you're trying to accomplish, figure out ways to accomplish that, and then balance the upsides and the downsides, the sacrifices with the payoffs. Here's a question that was asked on Facebook, and I totally had to answer it on a video because it's something that I get asked. I usually get asked in a much more polite way than this, but this one was so blatant that I had to present it here. So the question is, are you just totally afraid of commitment? And frankly, it's a fair question. I mean, my entire lifestyle is oriented towards novelty and finding new things and experiencing new things and meeting new people and having new foods and new music and everything else. And so what that looks like to somebody who is more accustomed to committing to certain things and identifying favorites and then having that favorite as often as possible, and being in more conventional relationships where you commit to one person and then that's the person who's in your life and they take up more of your time than other people, ideally because they're your favorite person that you've committed to. And so everything about my lifestyle kind of flies in the face of this focus on commitment. Committing towards jobs as well, where I've changed careers several times. I'm always reorienting towards whatever projects and tasks and jobs I think will be most interesting. And so, yeah, it's absolutely a fair question. And frankly, it's not one that I have a great answer for because I'm not afraid of commitment. I've been committed in a lot of cases, not in the asylum sense, but committed in the sense of being in committed relationships and being in committed work situations and being committed to one location and focusing on one society and culture for a little while. And what I found is that I'm not as happy being in one concrete, putting down deep roots types of situations. I'm not as happy in that circumstance as I am when I'm traveling around and taste testing and experiencing a bunch of different things. Does that mean that I'm afraid of commitment? I don't think so, because I know what that looks like and I know the benefits of that, and I know that there are a lot of benefits that I enjoy as well. But I've done the math, and for me personally, I find much more joy and fulfillment, and I feel much more alive, and I feel that I grow much faster when I'm trying a lot of new things. And that means dating more than one person, and that means going out and living in more than one place, and that means kind of pursuing whatever work is most fulfilling in the moment and most interesting in the moment. That is something that looks like running away, I think, to some people. And I think particularly in the relationship sense, for people who are kind of brought up to believe that anything other than a one person for one person committed relationship, anything outside of that is something that is vile and contemptible in some way. You're clearly trying to use people or take advantage of people or whatnot. Couldn't be further from the truth, but I can understand why it would look that way if you haven't seen any alternative to that or experienced any alternative to that yourself. So that's a totally legitimate question. But my answer, I think, would have to be no, I'm not afraid of it. I've just done the math and I've weighed the options. And for me, personally, not for everybody, but for me, a less committed, or I guess maybe more committed to diversity and more committed to new experiences and novelty type of lifestyle makes the most sense for me. Have a question you'd like me to answer in a future video? Awesome. You can leave it right in the comments below, or you can ping me on any other social network that I happen to be on. My name most places is @ColinIsMyName. You can find out more about me and see the books that I've written at colin.io. And if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up, like, or a subscription or a share would be immensely, remarkably, wonderfully appreciated.